Okay, welcome to our class today. So if you remember, we've been looking at being able to talk about places and holidays and trips, and really using the grammar that we've been talking about is using should, have to. And we know that we use these when something is very important. We're telling someone you should do something. You have to do something. And also if the negative, you shouldn't or you don't have to. And then we also looked at, telling someone when we give advice about what they should do with being on a holiday. And today, that's what we're going to be doing again. So talking about should I go there? So using this modal verb called should, and some of these words like somebody, anybody, anywhere. So very confusing words, but we will know how to use them. And then we're going to choose a place and talk about it. So we're going to say, you should visit this place and why. So we're going to tell someone why they should visit a place. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at today in our class. So let's start with having a look at a photo and a reading. So we're going to read together. You're going to hear my pronunciation, and you are going to copy my pronunciation. So we've got a place like, should I go there? Antarctica. So we know Antarctica is at the South Pole. Okay, it's Antarctica. It's on the south. You need to go in a cruise. We can see that there's a boat. So should I go there? We remember we looked at questions when we say to someone, should I go there? Should I do this? We're asking someone if they think it's good for us to do it. I'm asking for someone's advice. Should I go there? Okay, so let's read together. This is the title. Should I go there? Travel writer Carlos Ghosn is thinking of taking a holiday in Antarctica. But should he go there?
Should he go there?
I don't like holidays with hotels,
I don't like holidays.
beaches, and swimming pools.
And
And I'm not interested in sightseeing in old cities. So, for my next holiday, I plan to do something exciting outdoors. There are so many tour companies on the internet offering that type of holiday. One company takes backpacking trips over the Andes of South America. Another company has animal safaris in Africa. And you can even go swimming with dolphins with a tour group in Australia. The problem for me is that when I choose a holiday, I don't want to go somewhere and see lots of other tourists. I want to be the only person there, which is difficult these days. Is there anywhere in the world without other people? What about Antarctica? Antarctica should be perfect for me. It's huge, it's quiet, and it's thousands of kilometers
half kilometer
away from other countries.
away from our country.
It doesn't have a government, and there are no cities. So there's no pollution or noisy traffic. It has lots of wildlife. However, like many places in the world, Antarctica is changing. 50 years ago,
50 years
nobody lived there.
nobody lived there.
But now, between 1,000 and 5,000
5,000
scientists live and work there
were there.
all year. And over 50,000
50,000
tourists visit every year.
every year.
The main way
The man was
for tourists
for free
to visit the continent
to take
is by ship.
ship.
There are no hotels,
There are no
so the cruise holidays
holiday.
are very popular. You can leave the ship during the day, and there are guided tours of areas with wildlife.
Wildlife.
As a result of so many tourists, some people
Some people
think the numbers of wild animals
think the number of wild from
and birds
birds
are decreasing.
of these
On the other hand,
are
there is some positive news.
there.
Many cruise companies teach their passengers about the wildlife in Antarctica and give money to environmental organizations in the region. These organizations want to help the nature and wildlife of Antarctica so it doesn't change in the future. So what should I do? Should I go to Antarctica? Go somewhere else? Or stay at home? Okay, so that was a very good reading using should. So you could see that this person that wrote this is asking themselves, should I go there? I'm not sure. They need advice. So when we read this paragraph, which holidays does the writer like and doesn't like? We can see in paragraph 1, he tells us what he likes and what he doesn't like. So you can see he doesn't like where there's lots of tourists, and he likes somewhere where he doesn't like sightseeing in old cities. He likes somewhere exciting and outdoor. Okay, so number 2, 1D, this paragraph here, the first one, tells us what he enjoys, what he likes, and what he doesn't like. In the second paragraph, the writer's problems. So it starts with the problem for me. So this paragraph is talking about what he has an issue with. What does he have a problem with? He tells you he doesn't like to see lots of tourists. He doesn't like lots of noise. He wants to be like the only person there. Then paragraph 3, this one here, this tells us why Antarctica is a good place. So it says it's perfect for me. It's huge. It's quiet. It's so far from other countries. So this paragraph is letting you know why this country, this place is perfect for him. And the negative changes in Antarctica is this paragraph here. So it's telling you what's happened that's bad in Antarctica. There are no hotels. There's, you know, in the beginning, nobody lived there. You know, now there's more people. So the negative changes. It's because now there's more tourists, you know, the wildlife animals and the birds are decreasing. So this paragraph is letting us know the negative things that are happening to Antarctica. And in his last paragraph, he talks about the positive work of tourism, how that is very good, how that helps Antarctica. It's positive, it's good, it helps Antarctica. Okay, so we can see, what does the writer want to do on his next holiday? Well, he wants a holiday where it's quiet, there's more outdoor things, not many tourists. Okay, so we can say, you know, he wants to do something exciting outdoors. So outdoors, an adventure. He writes about backpacking trips, safaris, and swimming with dolphins. Okay, that's the type of holidays that he's writing about. We know what backpacking is. It's when you carry very small amount of stuff and you're moving, maybe from one country to another. You're backpacking. And safaris, that means that you're going to see lots of wildlife animal. And he likes swimming with dolphins. So that is the type of holiday that he writes about. Number 3, for question 3, what is his problem? Well, he doesn't like seeing tourists and busy, crowded places. That's his problem. He doesn't like that. Why? Because he prefers somewhere quiet, away from the rest of the world, where there is no pollution or noise, yet lots of wildlife. So do you like the same type of holidays as the writer? Do you agree with his places? You could say, yeah, you might like it. If you like to go to quiet, you know, you don't want somewhere to be too much busy, you just want to be able to explore and see the place, then yes, I agree with the writer. Or you could say, no, I prefer somewhere where it's very busy. I prefer the city. It's just crowded and lots of food and people and music and, you know. Okay, so also, we know that it's huge, it's quiet, the place Antarctica, it's away from other countries. He said that there was no government, no cities, no pollution, no noisy traffic. It has a lot of wildlife. So that was the positive, the good things, why the writer liked Antarctica. The bad things, he said that there's so many tourists, there's no hotels, and there's not much animal life. So it's sad that there's less of nature, of animal life. So what do we think he should do? We think maybe he should go to Mount Everest, which is a different place. Okay, we can say sentences like, he should book return tickets and his accommodation with a tour company. Okay, remember we talked about this, return ticket and accommodation with a tour company. We can make a suggestion. He should move to another planet. That's what someone said. He should go for at least 1 week. So we can even give a suggestion of a time. How long do we think he should travel? He should wear winter clothes, such as a coat. Okay, so because we know it's very cold there, we can give an advice about what clothing he should wear and say why, because it's really cold, it's extremely cold weather. Another trip is maybe he should go driving into the desert, because we know that he likes places that are outdoor. We know that he likes places that are not crowded with too many people. So maybe he should go outdoor. Okay, so now I wanted to talk about these words, something, nobody, anywhere, and how do we use these words correctly? So any at the start of a sentence or a start of a word, it's used for negative or questions. So for example, anybody, that's the same word as saying anyone. It's about a person, someone, anyone. Okay, so as a negative, I could say something like, I don't have anyone, I don't have anybody to go with me to the movies. Or as a question, does anyone know the answer? Does anyone want something to drink? Okay, so anyone or anybody, it's the same. When we say body or one, it's the same words. Anywhere. So when I say anywhere, that's about a place. Again, in a negative sentence, it could be, I don't know anywhere good to go to. Can you give me a suggestion? I don't know anywhere where they sell something. If I say anything, so anything, it's talking about an object or an activity. So in a negative, I don't have anything to give you. I don't have anything to do this evening. So you would have heard a lot of people say that, I don't have anything to do. Okay, so that's an activity, because I'm saying I don't have any activity. I don't have anything fun to do. Okay, some. Now, some is used in positive sentences. And if it's at the beginning, okay, so somebody, or again, someone, that's about a person. So in a positive sentence, that would be like, someone took my phone. Someone is speaking to you. Someone is knocking on the door. Somewhere. Now, if I say somewhere, it means I'm talking about a place. So for example, have you been somewhere where it's, you can find lots of nature, somewhere, I've left my phone somewhere. I don't know where it is. Okay, about a place, somewhere. If I said something, it's because I'm talking about an object or an activity. So for example, I have something for you. Okay, an object, maybe a gift. I have something for you. Or let's do something. Okay, just means an activity. Let's do something that is fun. Let's do something. Now, if I say no, that's at the beginning, it's used for positive, but its meaning is negative. So for example, nobody is talking about a person. So I could say nobody is here. Nobody can speak German in this room. Nobody wants to come with me. Nobody is here. Nowhere. So it's about a place, nowhere. So I don't have nowhere. There's nowhere to go. Okay, there's nowhere like home. There's a saying that we have in English. There is nowhere like home. No place like home. That means that your home is like the best place. There's nothing similar. There's nothing like it. No, nothing. If I say nothing, it means I'm talking about an object or activity. So for example, I have nothing to give you. I have nothing to say. Or maybe it's activity. I'm not doing, I don't have nothing to do this evening. Okay, that's about an activity. So that's how we use some of these words: something, nobody, anywhere, anything. So lots of different words. This is what starts the word, and this is the ending. So remember, if it says body or one at the end of the word, that means it's talking about a person, a general person. Where is talking about a place, and thing means an object, an item, or an activity. So let's look at some of these examples. I have something for you. I will buy something to eat. So we're not sure what, it's just something. I'm not sure, just something. It's in general. I will go somewhere on the weekend. Okay, I don't know where, but I'm going to go somewhere. I'm not sure, but somewhere. I would like to do something with you. Okay, I would like to do something with you. So I don't know what activity, but just something. I would like to do something with you this weekend. Negative sentence: I don't have any money. I don't have any time. I don't have anything to give you. Nobody brought me coffee today. Okay, so remember nobody, or you could say no one. No one brought me coffee today. Nobody cares about Fernando except his wife. So no one, you can say no one, no one. You can't sit anywhere in the room. Sorry, you can. So if you want, you can sit anywhere in the room. So that means any place, anywhere. I don't have anything planned for today. Okay, means no activity. I'll do anything on the weekend. So any activity, anything, I'll do anything. I didn't go anywhere last weekend. So I didn't go to any place. I didn't go anywhere. I'm going to work somewhere, but I don't know where. Okay, about a place, somewhere. I need to do something important when I have holidays. I have nothing to do this weekend. I wanted to buy coffee, but nobody was open. Okay, nobody, no place. You could say nowhere. I wanted to buy coffee, but nowhere was open. There was nobody in the class today. I needed someone to take me to work. Or I need someone to take me to work. I'm not doing anything this weekend. I want to live somewhere near the beach. Okay, so that's how we use these words. So we know that when we use words, number 7, starting with any, okay, in a question or in a negative. So number 7, number 1, we use words starting with any when we talk about questions or with negative. We use words starting with some with a positive verb. We use words starting with no with a positive verb, but the meaning is negative. Okay, so that's how we use these words. We use body for a person, Number 7B, we use body, or again, one, they're the same for a person, just in general. We use where when we talk about a place, and we use thing for an object or activity. So number 8, there's no something interesting to do. Let's go home. What do you think the answer could be? There's nothing interesting to do. Remember, nothing about an activity. There's nothing interesting to do. Let's go home. My ticket is somewhere in my bag, but I can't find it. Does anybody want to go sightseeing with me? Or does anyone? I need something to eat. How about a pizza? Nobody in this shop speaks English. I didn't buy anything at the souvenir shop. Okay, so we have a writing. Okay, so let's write together. We're going to write about a place. So we're talking about Florence, which is in Italy. So let's write together and practice using this modal verb called should. You should visit Florence in Italy. Now remember, should is when I'm giving advice. I'm telling you that it is good and that you should do it. You must. Okay, it's good. So, is there? Yes. No. Is there anywhere? Is there? Because it's talking about a place. Is there anywhere in the world like the city of Florence? Okay, so we can see this word anywhere. It's talking about a place. Is there anywhere in the world like the city of Florence? That's a positive sentence. That's trying to say that Florence is so beautiful and amazing. Is there anywhere in the world like it? Similar? Okay, so in the city of Florence in Italy. So that was a question. Of course, there are other beautiful cities, but for me, nowhere else is as beautiful as Florence. Okay, but nowhere in the world. So no place. Remember, where means place, but nowhere else is as beautiful as Florence. There's always there's always something good to see. So something, remember, like some activity. There's always some activity or something to do to see on every street corner. And the local people are very friendly. If you get lost, you can ask, somebody, or we can say someone. Okay, you can ask a person, anyone, like in general, somebody, someone, for directions. And after a long day, sit in a cafe and do nothing. No activity, do nothing. Relax and watch the world go by. Okay, so we used all these new words that we learned today. Somebody, nothing, somewhere. Okay, so this was giving advice. You should visit Florence in Italy. Okay, so you're going to write similar to this. Try to use those words, somebody, something. You should visit this place. Okay, so let's read some examples. You should visit this place. So we have some examples. Shirley says, you should visit the Taipei Church in Taiwan to celebrate Christmas. There are many activities here at this time. You can see people singing and dancing to both gospel and Christian Christmas music. There is also a lot of food here to enjoy, such a great vibe during this festival season. Okay, Edward says you must visit Chichen Itza in Mexico, as this place is one of the 7 wonders of the world. This place was used by the Mayan civilization as a ceremonial center, a magical and very interesting place to visit. Jose, you should visit Chichen Itza in Mexico to celebrate the Day of the Dead. This occasion is held on November the 2nd. It is a magical and very special place for the Mayan culture. Lewis, I think you should visit the island called San Andres in Colombia. On that island, they speak Spanish and they themselves created their own language. One place to see on this island is the Sea of 7 Colors. You can do a lot of water activities here, such as jet skiing. Also eat so many different typical dishes. Adriano says you should visit the Sao Paulo Municipal Market, which is a place that offers so many food options. One of the must-try dishes is the mortadella sandwich, which is a traditional snack eaten here by locals. Sebastian says you should visit the Rosario Islands in Cartagena. The beaches there are very beautiful. You can enjoy the local fresh food, such as the fish. It is a great place to go on holidays. Oscar says you should visit the Sydney Opera House. Nowhere will you see such a wonderful building. This place has been declared a World Heritage Site. You can see many shows that are presented there. You shouldn't let time go by. Juanita says you should visit Machu Picchu in Peru. It's one of the wonders of the world. It's a unique place. You should visit this place now. You won't see a place like this anywhere in the world. Jonathan, you should visit the Pueblito Paisa and the Antioquia Museum because these places are very traditional to Medellin. Also, you should visit the Light Park, which is a big park which has lots of activities for the family, so you won't get bored. And the last one, you should go to Thailand to visit the Erawan Shrine. This is a small temple filled with flowers and is dedicated to the Erawan Buddha, the god of wealth. This is a very important part of the Thailand culture. You should also go to Pattaya Market, which is the largest market in the world, covering an area of more than 15 football fields. Okay, so if you remember, we were talking about using the modal verb should, and we use should because we're giving someone advice. We're giving them a suggestion, what we think is good, a place to see, a place to eat at, a place to visit, somewhere to buy something, the best market, where to go. So we use should. So let's talk about how do you choose your holidays? Do you maybe get a travel book? Do you go on the website, on the internet and Google Do you watch YouTube videos? Or do you ask family and friends? Or do you go into a travel agent and buy the brochure? So when we want to travel, there's a lot of places where we can go to understand the place that we want to go to before we travel there. And that's always good. So we're going to listen to an audio of two friends talking about a holiday. And we're going to answer some of the questions. So which of the things are they looking at? So are they looking at a website, at a travel book, on the internet? What countries in South America do they mention? And what type of holiday does one of the friend suggest? Okay, so let's listen to the audio. Two friends are talking to each other about a holiday. So let's listen and answer the questions.
Track 106, Unit 11D.
Looks interesting.
Yes, it's a holiday brochure.
Oh, really?
Yes, I've got a month in South America, so I'm looking at places to go.
I went last year. It's an amazing part of the world. I went on a cruise all the way from Brazil to Argentina. You should go on that.
Yes, but I'm interested in the wildlife.
How about visiting the Andes? That was part of my bus tour in Chile.
The disadvantage is that there are lots of other people with a bus tour. I like travelling on my own.
But the advantage is that you see more than forecast. If you visit places that tourists don't normally go to.
Maybe you're right.
Can I make a suggestion? If you have a month, why don't you go on a tour for 2 weeks? And then you could travel on your own afterwards.
Actually, that's a really good idea.
Okay, so we heard a conversation. So what were they looking at? One of them, she was looking at a holiday brochure, which just means like a book that has some pages about the country. So maybe she got it from the travel agent. It's like a little book, okay, that's about South America. Which countries in South America do they talk about? Brazil, Argentina, Chile. Okay, so these are 3 countries which are in South America. So they're interested to travel to these 3 countries. What type of holiday does one of the friends suggest? Well, he says that you can go on a cruise. So that means on a boat. A cruise is a boat. You can go on a bus tour. Okay, so you can take the bus around the city, the country. You can do a wildlife tour. So that's where you go to see animals, the nature of the animals, and not just nature, it could be the Amazon. So it's, you know, in the wildlife. Or you can just travel on your own. Okay, so these are different ways to travel. So when we look at making a suggestion, as I said, we use the word you should. And let's look at the grammar first, and then we will answer some questions. So with should, we know that thank you, you're welcome. We use the subject first, and the subject is I, you, he, she, it, we, they. But when I'm telling someone, I say you. So you should, and then what's the main action? Is it that you should go, you should see, you should book online, you should pay now, you should go with some friends, you should go in summer. So what is the main action? So should is the same for all subjects. Okay, so subject, should, verb. And the verb has no ing, no ed. It's just go, see, book, visit. Now, when I make a suggestion, I can say, how about, with the main action. So how about going to Brazil first? How about visiting Europe? How about taking a cruise trip? How about going surfing when you're there? How about doing something? Okay, so again, the main action is here. And yes, we add an ing. So how about, and then straight away you put the action. There's no subject. How about going somewhere? How about driving? How about taking a bus tour? Now, how about is the same as saying what about. So what about going on a tour? What about sightseeing? What about visiting North and South America? Now, we can use can, which is the same as could. So remember, we did this in a couple of lessons ago. So it's saying that if you want, you have an option. So you can go to the parks, which are amazing. You can visit the zoo. You could go to the local markets. You could explore the city. You could stay all night because everything is open. You could find lots of places to buy things. And another way we say, why don't? Now we need a subject that if I'm talking to you, to someone that I'm recommending or advising someone, then why don't you go to Brazil? Why don't you visit the waterfalls? Why don't you go to the markets? Okay, so that's some ways that we use when I want to tell someone, I want to suggest, I want to give them advice. So let's look at just some pronunciation first. Could. So this makes a oo sound. Could, would. Should. So should, it's a sound. Book, but and cruise. Okay, so these were verbs: could, should, book. If you want to go on a cruise, so the UI is a cruise. You, food. And just remember that the U has an A sound. So but us, bus, but, love. Okay, so there's an A when we say bus. Okay, so let's look at a conversation. I went on a cruise all the way from Brazil to Argentina. You should do that. So you should do that. So when I talk about an activity, like I went to Europe, I went to the Middle East, I went to Paris, I went surfing, whatever activity, after I talk about it, I can say, you should do that too. You should do that also. Okay, so this is from number 3, question 3. Yes, but I'm interested in wildlife. So you could say, I'm interested in, and whatever activity. So I'm interested in going shopping. I'm interested in seeing old ancient ruins. I'm interested in seeing something. I'm interested in walking around the city. I'm interested in going to lots of restaurants. Okay, I'm interested in, and then the activity. So she says, yes, but I'm interested in the wildlife. And he says, how about, So remember when we want to recommend or suggest, so how about visiting the Andes? So remember with how about, we put the verb, but we must put the ing. So how about visiting the soccer stadium? How about visiting the markets? How about visiting the forest, the park? How about visiting the main city or the city center? But the disadvantage, that means the bad thing, is that, so but the disadvantage is that there are a lot of other people with a bus tour. Okay, so the disadvantage means what's the bad thing? But the advantage, so that means the good thing, but the advantage is that you see more with a tour guide. That's true, because the tour guide knows where to take you. The tour guide will show you all the places. It's more fast. There'll be lots of other people there. You can ask questions. That's a good thing. The advantage is if you have a tour guide. Maybe you're right. So we use this expression, maybe you're right. Okay, so that's like saying, yeah, I think you're correct. I think that's true. Yes, you're right. Maybe you're right. That's a good point. Can I make a suggestion? So again, we said that we can use can. So can I make a suggestion? So sometimes we need to ask someone if they want advice. Maybe they don't want advice. So I need to ask them, can I make a suggestion? Can I give you what I think? Can I tell you what I think? Can I make a suggestion? Actually, that's a really good idea. So we use this word, good idea. That's a perfect idea. That's a great idea. That's a good idea. So when you want to respond to what someone is suggesting, you could say, wow, good idea. Great idea. Okay, so we looked at suggesting, and responding. Okay, now we have some, we've got Gary. Okay, so Gary is a person who has, so question 5, has 2 weeks holidays. Okay, so Gary has 2 weeks holidays. So we're going to imagine he has 2 weeks holidays. He loves traveling, but he doesn't like crowded places. Okay, so he likes traveling, but not crowded places. Okay, so the subject is Gary. He only has 2 weeks. So we have to be careful. Where can we suggest to him, but he's only got 2 weeks. Remember, what do we know? He likes traveling, so that's good, but not crowded places, not very busy. So some suggestions, we should say, well, Gary should go camping in the mountains where there are no people. That's a good idea. So if you think that's a good idea, you could say, yeah, great idea. So I could say, Gary, you should go camping in the mountains where there are no people. If I'm talking to Gary, I could say, well, how about you take a cruise trip around the world? So it's a question, because he's got 2 weeks. Maybe that's not enough time. I would say maybe a cruise trip, maybe not around the world, because remember 2 weeks, maybe a cruise trip around an island. Okay, maybe just like a small part, maybe like the Caribbeans. So maybe you take a cruise ship at the Caribbean islands, which is a very popular place in Central America. Have you been there, Eloise? Did you go on a cruise trip to the Caribbeans? Like Bahama, Caribbeans? No? Oh, you're very close, Brazil, you know? Just a little bit. Okay. Yes, I hear about it. You never been? Maybe one day. So you can take a cruise trip to the Caribbean islands, which is in South America. So he's got 2 weeks. So I think that's a good idea. So I could say, Gary, how about you take a cruise trip to the Caribbean islands? We can say Gary should go to the Maldives, where he can go diving, snorkeling, and scuba diving. That's a good idea for Gary because he doesn't like crowded places. So, you know, there's not many people in the water, in the ocean, snorkeling, scuba diving. So he can book a nice trip for 2 weeks. We could say Gary could go to a beach resort where it's very quiet. That's nice, you know, like a beach resort. They have everything there. So they'll have restaurants, they'll have the hotels, you can meet other people. You can walk around the resort, you know, it's not crowded. We can say to Gary, why don't you go to Xariot Hotel in Mexico, which is a resort for adults only. Okay, because he doesn't want crowded places. So maybe this hotel is nice. There's only adults. He's got 2 weeks. It's in Mexico. Okay, it's only adults, no children. So there won't be many people. We could say, you can go to New Zealand. You could go to New Zealand. It's quiet, yet so big. Like it's a, you know, there's not many people in that country, but it's just huge. So that's good for Gary. Again, we could use could, you could. How about visiting the mountains of Nepal? He's got 2 weeks, not many people there. That's a good trip if he likes cold. This is in South Australia. You can take a cruise. Remember, a cruise means on the water, to the Murray River, of the Murray River. So you can see this river that we have in South Australia, but it's also, I think it goes through Victoria. So that 2 weeks. Or stay in a cottage in the Adelaide Hills. That would be nice and quiet, right? So he's got 2 weeks holidays and he doesn't want crowded places. So can you see how we suggested to him? Well, Gary, you should, how about, why don't you, you could, you can. Okay, another situation, we have Nigella. Now, Nigella is a student. So that means she doesn't have much money. Okay, so we can't suggest a trip that's going to be very costly, that costs a lot of money. She's a student, so we have to remember she doesn't have much money. Okay, she's a student, but she has 3 months. That's a long time. Okay, so we need to make a suggestion for Nigella. What do we think is a good trip for Nigella? So I know she doesn't have a lot of money. So maybe, you know, Nigella, or again, if I'm talking to her, I could say you should go backpacking in the countryside or in South America, right? Backpacking is very cheap. She just has a backpack. She could stay at hostels. It's like, you know, where lots of people can stay in one room and they have different beds. So it's cheap accommodation. And she could, take the bus, the local bus. It won't cost much money. And she has 3 months. So that's a long time. She could definitely spend a lot of time in South America because, it's not an expensive country. You can buy, maybe she could do a little bit of jobs to pay for some things. But if she only has a little bit of money, 3 months, that's a good idea. We can say to her, what about staying with a homestay family in another country? Okay, so that means that she stays in the home of a family. So maybe she can go on a student visa. Okay, she could study and then stay at a homestay. Because 3 months, she could study. Okay. So we could say, what about taking a short course overseas and staying with a homestay family? Okay, so she could take a short course overseas because 3 months and stay with a homestay family. And when she's free, then she can go see the city. The family, she's got a home to stay at. She's got food. So she doesn't need to spend much money. We could say she should drive along the coast of Australia. Okay, all she needs is a car. She could just drive around Australia. Now she needs money for petrol and food, but she has some money, but she's got time, 3 months, and she can stay in hostels. So remember, hostels are not hotel. They're like lots of people stay in the one room, but there's beds. While that means at the same time, she works and travels. So she could move around. And 3 months, that's a good amount of time. She should visit Venezuela or Bali. Okay, really good countries. Bali, really close to Australia. It's very cheap as well. She can do volunteer work in another country. So volunteer work, that's where she gives her time for free. She doesn't get paid, and she can maybe stay with someone. So she doesn't have to pay accommodation. So she can work maybe on a farm or in a restaurant, and they can maybe give her a place to stay. Okay, then we have Dorothy and Frank. So we've got 2 people, Dorothy and Frank. Now Dorothy and Frank are old people. Okay, so we have to remember that they're old. So we can't suggest activities where, for young people. Okay, so they're old. They're in their 60s. They don't have work anymore. So they're retired. And they have lots of free time. So lots of free time. Okay, so Dorothy and Frank, husband and wife. Okay, they're retired. That means they don't work anymore and they have lots of free time. What can we suggest? We could say they could visit Europe and take short trips from one country to another. That's a good idea. They could visit Europe, right? Because there's a lot of nice things for them to see. And they can maybe go to a few countries, Italy, France, Germany. We can say, how about you go on a cruise trip? Okay, they have lots of time. And cruise trips are pretty expensive, but they're retired, so they can spend that time. Maybe they should travel around Australia. They could visit Disneyland and stay in the resort. Okay, so now we made some suggestion. Let's imagine, so we have a person called Edward. Now, Edward has the weekend off, so he's only got a short amount of time. What can we suggest to him what he should do? We could say Edward should go to the museum. That's fun. Edward should go to the gym. Not really a trip, so I'm going to take that off. Edward should go camping with his friends. That's good. Camping on the weekend, maybe just a short place, maybe an hour away up in the hills or in a camping place. Or how about Edward, you catch up on some sleep and watch movies? That's an activity, okay, because he only has the weekend off. So we can see that we have been able to make suggestions. So I can tell someone what I think is good. I say to them, you should do something. Okay, so that's what we've done. We talked about a holiday. If you remember, should, we asked ourselves in the beginning, should I go somewhere? What do you think I should do? So when I'm asking for your advice, I want you to tell me a good idea. And we were able to talk about these words, anywhere, everywhere, somebody, something, nothing. And also now we just looked at a holiday in South America and we spoke about how can we say what we think is good to someone. So let's have a look at your writing from before. So you were writing, you should visit this place. Okay, so did everybody upload? I'll have a look. So you should visit this place and so you have to tell me where you think I should visit. So we don't want to talk about our experience. We want to suggest to people. So Henry, you have to suggest to me where someone should go. So I would say if you are in Korea, okay, you should. So if you are in Korea, you should go to church on the weekend because everyone here seems to be Protestant. Okay, so that's good. They seem to be religious. I might just say they seem to be religious. So it's very good that you can find a church, people will go there. You should, okay, so we're suggesting people, you should Google somewhere with a church. Yeah, so you should Google, places, you should Google any places, maybe somewhere close to where you are staying. You should ask people. So we don't want to talk about our experience. We want to give advice. So you should ask people around if the church is nearby. Good. You should also, see a few more places and speak to the locals because everybody here is very friendly. So that's good. I know I changed it a little bit. Remember, you are telling someone you should go somewhere. So we don't want to talk about our experience. We just want to tell them, if you are in Korea, you should go to the church on the weekend because everybody here seems to be Protestant, religious. You should Google any places somewhere close to where you are staying. So you should Google places. So you should Google, you should Google somewhere close to where you are staying. You should ask people around if the church is nearby. You should also see a few more places and speak to the locals because everybody here is very friendly. Okay, good. So I'll just put here because everybody is religious. And then in brackets, we could say what religious? Protestant. Okay, so interesting, Mongolia. Okay, so you should come to Mongolia. Good topic, good title. Coming to Mongolia, the first thing you should see is one of the most extensive grasslands in the world. Under the blue sky and white clouds, the sea of grass rippling, groups of cattle and sheep. You can ride a horse on the grassland, the breeze gently in your cheek. You can also lie quietly on the grass, look up at the sky, feel the peace and beauty of nature. Good. So I just want to add more. You should. So coming to Mongolia, the first thing you should see is one of the most extensive grasslands in the world. I might just put a full stop because it's a very long sentence. There, you can be under the blue sky and white clouds. And see the sea of grass rippling, groups of cattle of sheep, and cattle and sheep nearby or around. So you should ride a horse on the grassland to feel the breeze gently brushing your cheek. You should also, so I'm giving a suggestion, so you should also lie quietly on the grass, looking up at the sky, feeling the peace and beauty of nature. Good. They have their own language, writing, music, dance, and traditional dress. You should participate in the Mongolian traditional festivals. That's a good idea. Yes, you should do that. And experience Mongolian customs and cultural charm. You should also taste the local cuisine, such as hand-grabbed meat, roasted whole sheep, that sounds so good, yogurt, etc., which are the specialties of Mongolia. Okay, good. So you should come to Mongolia. Okay, so I think that's all we had for the writing. Okay, so suggesting a place to someone, we should use the word should. So really important to say should. Okay, and just remember we had other ways of saying should. We said you can, how about, what about, and you can ask someone, you know, can I make a suggestion? Can I tell you a good place? And when we respond, if yes, say yes, that's a great idea. Yes, that would be perfect. Or you could just say, yes, what a great idea. Okay, so that's all we had time for, looking at suggesting, should I go there? and talking about advising someone what they should do.